Robyn probably have some plan of what they want to do and how they want to handle it. I think that Janelle has some sort of plan, and I know that I do as well. And none of us are talking to each other because none of us trust each other.
The cameras stopped rolling, the stage smiles faded, and the carefully crafted storylines came to an end. But the truth? That truth kept spilling out, raw and unfiltered, and it couldn't be ignored any longer. What started as a quiet moment behind the scenes quickly exploded into the biggest upheaval Sister Wives has ever seen. An accidental recording caught Cody saying things he never meant to share with the world. And if that wasn't enough, Robyn, his favorite wife, was unknowingly recorded unleashing a private, scathing rant that tore through the family's carefully maintained facade. For years, the viewers only saw what the cameras wanted them to see: a united family, sisters bound by loyalty and love, navigating the challenges of polygamy together. But behind that polished image was something far darker: emotional manipulation, hidden resentments, and silences that spoke louder than words. And suddenly, all those silences were broken. What happens when the wives who were supposed to stay quiet, who were pushed to the sidelines, finally find their voices? When the secrets that kept them chained are exposed and the illusion crumbles? This is a story about more than just a family breaking apart. It's about women reclaiming their power through truth. Hi, I'm Oliva, and welcome to TLC's Sister Wives Secret. If you've been following this roller coaster of a journey for years, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe because we're about to pull back the curtain and reveal what they never wanted you to hear. From the very beginning, Sister Wives painted a picture of a family built on unity, shared sacrifice, and what they called a spiritual marriage. We were shown this idea of harmony among the wives, 4 women choosing to live together under one roof, supporting Cody and each other. But as the seasons went on, that carefully woven image started to unravel. The illusion was never quite what it seemed. Robyn entered the family as the last wife, and almost immediately her role began to shift. Slowly but surely, she became Cody's clear favorite, the one he leaned on most. The cameras caught moments where she was treated differently, whether it was in the way Cody talked to her, the private time they shared, or the subtle ways she was given priority in decision-making. It wasn't just about love or preference. It felt like a shift in power within the family. Meanwhile, the other wives, Janelle, Christine, and especially Meri, started drifting into isolation. Meri's loneliness was heartbreaking to watch. She often appeared sidelined, her voice quieter, her struggles more visible but ignored. Janelle, known for her independence, seemed to resist the shifting dynamics, carving out her own space, but even she couldn't escape the growing divide. Christine, though less central in this drama, reflected the quiet emotional strain that the family's shifting loyalties caused. Episodes showed us this growing tension. Robyn's carefully maintained image as the perfect wife masked a deeper divide. The sisters were no longer equal players in this story. The stage was set for cracks that would eventually shatter the entire facade. You know that moment when you think the cameras are off, the lights are dimmed, and everyone's finally done performing? That's exactly when the truth decided to slip out. Loud and clear. Cody, caught off guard by a mic that never really turned off, muttered something so raw it sent shockwaves through the whole family and fans alike. "This whole thing is disgusting." Just that one line shattered the polished image they had worked so hard to create. Imagine the scene. Filming had wrapped, the crew packing up, the family stepping back from the glare of the spotlight. Yet, even as the cameras powered down, the hidden tension was still alive, and the mic kept capturing every whispered frustration. Cody's voice cracked with resentment, not just toward the complicated family dynamics, but also the entire show that turned their lives into scripted drama. More painfully, some of that bitterness was aimed right at Robyn, the very woman he'd been publicly favoring. This wasn't a rehearsed confession or a prepared soundbite. It was the unfiltered Cody speaking from a place of exhaustion, anger, and maybe even regret. And then, something unexpected happened. That recording, meant to be private, somehow found its way out into the world. Someone with access leaked it anonymously, igniting a firestorm. Suddenly, the neat little story viewers had been following for years was blown wide open. The family's cracks, the power plays, the emotional manipulation, they were all out there now, no longer hidden behind the cameras. This leak wasn't just a scandal, it was a turning point, forcing everyone to face a reality they'd tried desperately to keep under wraps. Right after Cody's explosive moment, something even more revealing came to light. Robyn's private rant, caught completely off guard in the quiet of her own bedroom. The cameras weren't rolling, but somehow her words were still recorded. And what she said? It was like watching a whole different side of Robyn, one that fans never expected. She didn't hold back, slamming Janelle and Meri with brutal names. Robyn called Meri a martyr and Janelle a tragic ghost. Those words weren't spoken with sadness or sorrow. No, it was sharp, cutting disdain, a cold kind of superiority that shattered the loyal, suffering wife image so many believed in. This was not grief. It was scorn. We remember the episodes where Robyn's tears seemed so genuine, a way she wielded emotion almost like a shield or a weapon, making the audience feel sorry for her. But hearing her private rant, it was a total shock. The contrast between the public Robyn and the private Robyn was staggering. The vulnerable, loyal wife was replaced by someone who looked down on the others, dismissing their pain as weakness or irrelevance. That leaked audio changed everything. It ripped apart the carefully built persona that Robyn had cultivated on screen for years. Suddenly, viewers were forced to rethink everything they thought they knew about her role in the family. This wasn't just a minor slip-up, it was a complete unmasking. Robyn's facade cracked wide open, revealing bitterness and contempt where once there was only sympathy. And with that, the family's fragile unity began to crumble even faster. The moment the recordings leaked, the impact was immediate and deeply personal. Picture Janelle standing in her kitchen, the audio playing softly in the background. Her hands might have trembled, but her expression? Not one of shock. More like a long-awaited confirmation. Years of feeling sidelined and unheard finally had a voice. Christine was the first to call. You can almost hear the relief in her voice, the validation that everything she had quietly suspected was now out in the open. This wasn't just drama or jealousy. This was the truth breaking through years of carefully crafted silence. For Christine, who had already taken the painful step to walk away from the family, the leak reaffirmed her choice. Then there's Meri, sitting alone, scrolling through the transcript. For so long, she'd held on to hope that staying quiet, being patient, would somehow protect her place. But now she saw clearly. Her silence had only made her invisible to Robyn. The woman she once saw as a sister wife was, in reality, dismissing her like a ghost. Think back to earlier episodes, the catfishing scandal that left Meri isolated and embarrassed, Janelle's quiet strength building her own life apart from the family drama, and Christine's difficult decision to step away to find her own peace. Those moments were all threads in the story of fractured loyalty and unspoken pain. This leak wasn't just a crack in the illusion, it was the final blow. They weren't a united family, not really. They were pawns in Robyn's game, caught in a power struggle disguised as sisterhood. And now, the truth was impossible to ignore. When Janelle and Meri finally faced Robyn, away from cameras, lights, and producers, it wasn't about drama or spectacle. It was raw, real. No scripts, no edits, just unfiltered confrontation. Robyn, usually so poised and commanding, found herself fumbling for defenses that just wouldn't hold. The usual control she exerted over the family narrative slipped right through her fingers this time. Meri and Janelle stood firm, not yelling, not begging, just speaking truths that had been buried for too long. You could feel the weight of years of silencing and manipulation hanging heavy in the room. Robyn's usual mask cracked. Her sharp words and tears from the show felt hollow compared to the calm but steady resolve of these two women. Then there's Cody, quiet, distant, almost unreadable. His usual role as the family's anchor seemed broken. When he said, "My defense of you is over," it wasn't just about Robyn. It was the end of the entire carefully built illusion. His silence said more than any argument ever could. This wasn't just a breakup or another fight. It was the collapse of a power structure that had ruled their lives for years. No need for shouting or anger. The truth landed with a heavy, undeniable finality. The story they all thought they were living had ended, and the women who had been silenced were finally free to speak on their own terms. The truth didn't need a polished network edit or a carefully crafted storyline to be powerful. All it took was one mic left on, one moment of raw honesty that no one expected to hear. That small slip tore through years of rehearsed smiles, staged scenes, and silent suffering. Suddenly, everything that had been hidden in plain sight came crashing down. The women in this story stopped being victims trapped in a scripted show. They became witnesses to their own lives, no longer willing to play the parts written for them. They weren't performing anymore. They were speaking their truth, loud and clear. For the viewers, this wasn't just another family drama or a breakup to watch unfold. It was the exposure of years of control, manipulation, and emotional walls built to keep these women quiet and sidelined. And the most shocking part? Robyn's image, once so carefully polished and guarded, didn't crumble because of rumors or gossip. It fell apart under the weight of her own unfiltered words, captured when she thought no one was listening. In the end, these women didn't just walk away from Cody or the illusion he created. They stepped into their own voices, reclaiming the power that had been taken from them for so long. And that's the real story here, a story about breaking free, finding truth, and finally being heard.